Hey everyone, sorry for the slight delay. This video was supposed to come out yesterday in the afternoon, but I've had a bit of a tough schedule with school this week, so I needed at least one more day to take a break before going back to the whole YouTube thing. And so I had two choices here. I was either going to make another Arrowverse video or another Agents of Shield video, but I thought I'd make something slightly different to make for my second video in this comeback phase, and I thought about the fact that franchises don't seem to end anymore, do they? Whether we're talking about the MCU, Star Wars, Harry Potter, or just anything really, Lord of the Rings, even. It's like the IP for big franchises, whether it's in movies, TV shows, video games, or whatever. It's like we've gotten into this bubble where instead of trying to do something new, we just lean towards what's already popular and just try to milk everything we can out of it. And sometimes that leads to some good results, and most of the time it leads to not so good results. Now, the most popular example of this is obviously, well, the MCU, with with over with almost 30 films in just 14 years, and like how much? Yeah, $26 billion at the box office. It's clear that this giant cash cow will never end. But is that a good or a bad thing? I mean, many people have said that after Endgame, the MCU pretty much ended and that it will never be the same. But people also said the same thing after the first Avengers movie came out, that it was a once in a lifetime experience, a lightning in a bottle type situation, that it will never be duplicated, that no matter how much they tried to do in Avengers 2, that it was the end of an era. And then, it didn't happen. The MCU had plenty of other great films after the first Avengers film. And yeah, I mean, I guess with Endgame it's a different story since it was an 11-year journey, but yeah, even though I'm one of the few people who don't believe the MCU is quote unquote dead after Endgame, I still kind of came to peace with the idea that it would never be as good as the Infinity Saga. I mean, with in terms of the Disney Plus shows, I think WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki were definitely hits and misses. I thought WandaVision was definitely engaging for the most part, and the ending didn't ruin anything, but it also left me wanting more. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was really great. I absolutely loved it, despite the controversial speech in the finale. I loved the first episode of Loki, but thought that the rest of the series was pretty disappointing. I watched What If. I thought it was just turn your brain off, kind of fun type of show. I didn't really get into the writing is so bad, the episodes aren't long enough, which yeah, it's true, but that's the way I thought to look at the show. It's just pointless. I mean, we're just supposed to look at multiple alternate realities like Captain Carter, Marvel Zombies. So I just turned my brain off and enjoyed all that. And as for Hawkeye, I had a lot of expectations for that show, and the first two episodes definitely gave some promise into that. But then the show just didn't know what direction it wanted to go. Like, first, it introduced Jack Duquesne as a possible antagonist, then it introduced Maya, then it reintroduced Yelena from Black Widow. Then, in the same episode, they say that Kate's mom is now a bad guy, and then they reintroduced Fisk in that same episode, and it's just, they didn't have enough time to focus on one story. And with all the deleted scenes, it's clear that the show just like Marvel just half-assed on that one. And then Moon Knight, surprisingly, was actually pretty great. It's so far my favorite of all the Marvel Disney Plus shows. I thought it was really good. In my opinion, it had the best pacing and character arc of all the shows. But I do not have much excitement for what comes next. I think Ms. Marvel looks like a cheap CW type show. She-Hulk might be ironically hilarious, which is what I hope it is. And yeah, other than Secret Invasion, I'm not looking forward to any of the other Marvel Disney Plus shows. Well, outside of the Daredevil spinoff, kind of, but who knows how they're going to handle that. And in terms of the Phase 4 movies, in 2021, it wasn't exactly that good for the most part. I mean, we had Black Widow, which it wasn't bad, but it should have been a lot better than it was. I didn't hate it as much as some people. I definitely think it should have come out before Endgame. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But yeah, the movie just felt like a run-of-the-mill, enjoyable action movie when it should have been a much more psychological, a psychological action thriller, if that makes sense. Definitely what the opening was promising, because that opening was dark as hell, and I loved it. So yeah, I definitely rank Black Widow as one of the lesser new MCU movies, but yeah, not to mention the whole Taskmaster thing and Dreykov, but hey, it was enjoyable enough, I guess. Then you have Shang-Chi, which has an absurdly long title. I'm not even going to say the whole thing. And I actually really enjoyed it. Like it was really good. I didn't think I'd enjoyed it as much as I did. I thought the protagonist was really good. I thought the villain was amazing. The only thing that I wasn't so fond of was Aquafina being in the movie for so long. I just don't really like her as an actress. No disrespect to her as a human being. I'm sure she's nice and all that. But yeah, everything I've seen her in, she's been annoying as hell. She was annoying in Jumanji: The Next Level. She was annoying in Ryan: The Last Dragon, and she was annoying in this movie. I think she's in the new movies, the new movie, The Bad Guys, that DreamWorks movie that just came out, and I haven't seen it yet, but I don't know. Whatever character she plays in that, I hope it's not annoying like her usual roles. But yeah, other than that, I thought Shang-Chi was really good, more than it had any right to be. It felt really fresh, and I really liked it. I cannot say the same for Eternals, which it wasn't bad per se, but it was just so boring, lifeless, devoid of any kind of personality, and I don't know, if they're gonna make a sequel, it better be, good. But then, No Way Home was easily one of the best films in the entire MCU. Not just that, but in my opinion, also one of the best comic book movies ever. All those people that say that the movie just exists for fan service are clearly the people that are trying to have their cake and eat it too. Like, oh, here's a fun and easy way to criticize the movie, and boom, like that's it. It's said and done. When they don't really bother to analyze the film for what it really is. Yes, the fan service is definitely the main selling point, but that's not what the movie is at its core. But hey, haters gonna hate, so what are we gonna do? And Multiverse of Madness was a surprising case because visually the movie is amazing. Like Sam Raimi is a god when it comes to comic book movies, as well as just being a director in general. His directing is really engaging. It's amazing. I definitely accept the criticism that his directing is a lot more lifelike than other MCU directors like the Russo brothers. I mean, the Russo brothers are great when it comes to making great films like The Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. But yeah, the action sequences they're not bad, but they could be a lot better, like what Sam Raimi did with Multiverse of Madness. And yeah, the creativity, the visuals, it was all pretty amazing. I don't get that criticism. Spoiler alert, just in case if you guys haven't watched Multiverse of Madness, all those people that bitched about Reed Richards telling Wanda Black Bolt's powers, it's like, why is that a problem? He didn't know what Wanda's powers were. He was being like, hey Wanda, this is Black Bolt. He's very powerful and he could beat you. Back off. And just because Wanda took his mouth, that doesn't make Reed any less smart. He didn't know what was going to happen. He didn't know what Wanda's powers were. Being smart doesn't mean seeing the freaking future. But hey, people are gonna have to bitch about something, I guess. I mean, if anything, what they really should be bitching about is the fact that Captain Carter and Maria Rambeau were just standing there while Black Bolt and Reed Richards were getting killed. But but hey, I guess not. And yeah, if I would have to describe how I felt at the end of Multiverse of Madness, it would be that I felt surprisingly empty I don't know. I mean, No Way Home was such an emotional roller coaster. It was the first film ever that I watched 3 times in theaters. That's how good it was. And with Multiverse of Madness was definitely good too, but narratively and narratively, I don't know. It just didn't say much, and I don't know. The script just didn't do much for me. Like I definitely, and that ending definitely didn't help. He wanted to go for a cliffhanger ending with the whole third eye, and that didn't really sit well with me. Like it didn't feel like the movie came full circle on the story that it wanted to tell. Like I still liked it, I still really enjoyed it, but yeah, after No Way Home, I don't know. Even if I hadn't seen No Way Home before, I still would have felt like there was something missing narrative wise. And hey, I'm definitely excited for Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Panther 2, and the rest of the upcoming films. But back to my point, is it really a good idea that the MCU, specifically as the most famous movie franchise ever, just continues to exist without any type of definitive ending in sight? It's the same thing goes for Star Wars. You have Return of the Jedi as the definitive ending in most fans' eyes because the prequels have gotten a lot more praise as the years have gone by. Absolutely everyone hates the sequels, including myself. So yeah, Return of the Jedi has definitely been seen as the definitive ending of the franchise in terms of the films, and which leads me to my point about the best part about never-ending franchises is that you can technically choose the ending if you want to. Like with the MCU specifically, you can just pick whenever it ends. If you want it to end with the first Iron Man, you can do that. If you want the ending to be the first Avengers film, then you can do that. You can choose multiple endings. For me, as of right now, the MCU ended with No Way Home. I feel like it's definitely the perfect ending since it brings all 3 franchises together that way, and it's definitely with the most popular character in the franchise. So even though it's not a big Avengers film with so many characters, I feel like story wise and emotionally wise, it's definitely it fits as the ending of the franchise in my opinion. It may not be as big as Endgame, but I think it definitely works. So if for you Endgame was the definitive ending, that's great. But I'm hoping that there's another big Avengers movie in the future that can serve as the definitive ending again. Because yeah, that's the way we should look at it, right? Because if you have that idea that no, that it should have ended with Return of the Jedi, it should have ended with Return of the King, it should have ended with Endgame, No Way Home, etc. It should have ended with Deathly Hallows Part 2 or whatever. Like, yeah, I mean, if that's how you feel, that's great, but there's also that problem that if you can't ignore the any future installments, like you have no choice but to acknowledge them, and eventually the franchise does run dry, like it has happened with Star Wars, like Harry Potter, and unfortunately also Lord of the Rings. And the MCU has shown some signs that it's heading in that direction. I mean, Loki. I know a lot of people liked Loki, but I thought it was pretty disappointing. Like I said, same goes for Hawkeye. I thought, and Eternals too. I don't have any type of hope for that second Captain Marvel movie. And yeah, I'm definitely worried with the direction it's taking. Like I said, I think No Way Home is the definitive ending for now. And yeah, it's another problem because these huge blockbusters have basically taken over theaters and cinema in general. I don't agree with Martin Scorsese's take that superhero movies aren't cinema. I definitely think he's a little bit jealous coming from that, but I definitely agree with the statement that new original films have no chance anymore. But that's not really the MCU, Star Wars, Harry Potter, or The Lord of the Rings' fault. I mean, it's not their fault that they're popular, nor should it be their fault. It's like if you want to stand out, then do something to draw audiences in. I mean, The Irishman was a pretty good movie. The Tick Tick Boom was really great. Andrew Garfield should have won the Oscar. I don't care if you liked King Richard or whatever that Will Smith movie was called. Andrew Garfield should have won that Oscar. Tick Tick Boom was absolutely amazing. And yeah, it definitely seems like original movies like that are just one installments definitely will only survive in streaming and not not theaters anymore, unless it's like a lightning in a bottle type situation like Frozen, or I don't know. Yeah, Frozen is probably the biggest example of a first installment animated film that made over 1 billion at the box office. But yeah, it's definitely not something that'll happen all the time anymore. Like you could have a movie like Top Gun back in the 80s or something that would be a big hit, or a movie like Fatal Attraction, a movie that would pretty much get absolutely no audiences talking today. Like, did you guys know that there was a new Firestarter movie that came out recently? You know, Firestarter, based on that book by Stephen King. Yeah, like nobody cares anymore unless you're part of a big franchise, or unless you're a newcomer that resembles an already established franchise. Then yeah, there's pretty much no chance. I mean, I myself want to become a comic book writer, and I want my comic book characters to get adapted into film eventually when I'm older. But I know that I have to do something new with it. Like superheroes have pretty much taken over media as a whole, and many people say that that's just temporary, but I don't agree with that in the slightest. Superheroes are basically a shell for any genre to fit in. It's pretty much an endless amount of possibilities that you can do, and I want to contribute to that. Once I get old enough, once I can finish my craft, create my own characters, and hey, maybe get a franchise that's half as big as the MCU. Who knows? But yeah, it's definitely a problem because in the case of Star Wars, which it has been doing quite decently with the Disney Plus TV shows, but in terms of movies, there's pretty much no future whatsoever. No one is excited for that new Ryan Johnson trilogy. No one is excited for that upcoming Rogue Squadron spinoff. And even with the TV shows, like who the hell is excited for Andor? Like I like Diego Luna and all that, but that character, like I couldn't give less of a shit about that character if I could. And yeah, if I would have to conclude all this, it would be that I hope more underdogs can get a chance in the industry, like the MCU back in 2008 when they were the underdogs, and now they are pretty much the game. But yeah, like I'm currently an underdog trying to perfect my craft with my writing and how I create my own characters and stories, so that hopefully it doesn't have to be like that. That hopefully eventually there's a definitive endpoint that people like Kevin Feige or Kathleen Kennedy don't have that philosophy of, hey, if it makes money, then let's keep doing it. We're gonna be making more projects that are good, other projects that we know are gonna make money, so we're just gonna half-ass them. But yeah, even though it's probably not gonna happen because hey, it's Hollywood. I hope it happens. Like somebody for any reason has the balls to say, we're done. Like it's over. Like we've made enough. We have more than enough money to retire. We can make more spin-offs in comic books or animated TV shows or whatever the hell. But the franchise is done. We've done enough. And hey, miracles do happen, so who knows, right? But anyway, I'm Judge Lee. I once again apologize for the slight delay. I'll be making more videos every week. I think I'll be making them either every Wednesday or every Friday. I think every Friday is better because that's when the weekend begins, when you have a more positive attitude. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it at. My next video will probably be about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the ideas that I have about potential spin-offs, besides the one that got canceled, unfortunately. But hey, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. If you have anything to share about the topic of what I just said, please leave a comment to tell me what you have in mind. And hey, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.